Right now at noon, former Vice President Dick Cheney has died at age 84.
It is a pretty beautiful day out there, nice and warm, but it is on the windy side. I'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, a local charity prepares emergency food distribution.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. He served under former President George W. Bush from 2001 to 2009. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Samantha Walker. CBS's Jared Hill takes a look at his storied political career.
Following 9/11, Dick Cheney was a prominent player in the war against terrorism.
There is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
That statement helped lay the groundwork for the invasion of Iraq, but it proved to be false. Critics accused Cheney and others in the Bush administration of deliberately deceiving the American public to justify the Iraq war. Cheney blamed bad intelligence and remained an influential advisor to President Bush.
Dick Cheney, a man of great integrity, sound judgment, and experience.
Richard Bruce Cheney had been a player in Washington politics for 30 years when George W. Bush happened to be his running mate.
I have been given an opportunity to serve beside a man who has the courage and the vision and the goodness to be a great president, Governor George W. Bush.
Cheney's resume was impressive. Starting as an assistant in the Nixon White House, he served as Gerald Ford's chief of staff. 5 terms as Wyoming's representative in Congress followed. At age 37, he suffered his first heart attack. Cheney's health did not prevent the first President Bush from making him Secretary of Defense. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his handling of Operation Desert Storm. He suffered 3 more heart attacks before becoming vice president.
In terms of the kinds of activities I can engage in professionally, there are no restrictions.
Cheney was an avid sportsman. While hunting in Texas, the vice president accidentally shot his friend. Harry Whittington survived, but Cheney was criticized for failing to disclose the accident in a timely fashion. After leaving office, Cheney was openly critical of the new Obama administration. He engaged in a public duel with Vice President Joe Biden over how to battle al-Qaeda and try terror suspects. Mr. Cheney defended the use of waterboarding on terror suspects as necessary to protect the nation. In 2010, Cheney suffered more cardiac problems and had a heart transplant 2 years later. Cheney once said his heart issues were always on his mind, but they never seemed to slow the career politician who many consider the most powerful vice president in American history. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Cheney maintained his conservative views into his later years, but would eventually split from most of his party over his intense criticism of President Trump. Dick Cheney was 84. Let's check in with Donald O'Keefe for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty nice day out there so far, nice and warm. It is on the windier side. Taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh, clear blue skies going on out there. You got a little bit of clouds, but it is still pretty nice, I would have to say. And actually, if you're looking at Rangeline I-44, there was some work going on earlier. So if you're driving through there, just, I think they're pretty much done with that work. So I don't think you have to worry about it too much. Let's take a look at our almanac. So yesterday we got up to 68 degrees. Our low is 44. So we are right around for yesterday, but our current conditions look pretty good. 71 degrees, sunny skies. Like I said, it is on the windier side. South winds 22 miles an hour, gusting up to about 31 miles an hour. So even though it's windy, even though it's sunny and it's bright outside, there is some wind associated. Planning your evening, though, we're going to drop down into the lower 60s through the rest of our evening, about 60 degrees at 11 p.m., so partly cloudy and windy. That wind will continue through the afternoon and into the evening. Taking a look at our future track, though, like I was saying, south winds will continue through the afternoon into the evening time, and a front will come through, but the winds will eventually calm down. But I'll have you look at your full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Donald. A 24-year-old man suffers a gunshot wound in Joplin during the earlier morning hours Monday. The call came in about 4:10, reporting a man suffering from a gunshot wound to the abdomen on Bronwell Avenue. Authorities took the 24-year-old to an area hospital. Joplin police say they have no suspect or suspect information at this time. Head over to KOAMNewsNow.com for more information as it becomes available. Joplin City Council votes to ban the practice of dumping homeless people within city limits. The new ordinance makes it illegal to intentionally drop off transient individuals within the city. Council members passed the measure on second and third readings last night after documenting multiple cases of other communities bringing homeless people to Joplin. City officials say the practice strains local shelters and resources. Any alleged violations will be reviewed by the police chief and city prosecutor before deciding how to proceed. The new law takes effect in 20 days. The Joplin Council also gave a green light for an ordinance creating the Woodsonia Marketplace Community Improvement District. Their decision followed a public hearing where developer Drew Snyder presented the latest renderings for the Prospect Village development near 20th Street and Rangeline Road. The mixed-use project features a publicly owned sports complex, retail spaces, and housing opportunities. The CID goes into second reading on November 17th. If passed, the tax collection for the project would start in April 2026. November begins a new round of open enrollment for those looking for coverage under the Affordable Care Act. This year's coverage might run into some complications as Congress cut tax credits earlier this year to the ACA, causing many healthcare premiums to increase. Some notable changes are some health insurance companies are no longer providing coverage to certain counties. Your primary care physician may no longer be in network.
There may still be some that has a zero premium, but you may see an incredibly high deductible. If a person has had a Marketplace in the past, we recommend that to not just let it re-enroll.
Some healthcare providers offer services that do not require insurance, one of them being KCU Dental in Joplin. Well, coming up, how the Area Agency on Aging is working to feed seniors while the government shutdown blocks federal dollars. And later, we're making an old-fashioned pot roast in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. As the government shutdown continues into November, federal aid programs impacting forestaters feel the strain. While a court decision will allow partial SNAP payments this month, many local organizations that depend on federal dollars are still in limbo. KOAM's Blake Goley shows us how the shutdown is hitting seniors right here in the four states.
Do I buy my medicine or do I buy my food?
That's the decision many seniors are facing as the government shutdown stretches into November. The Area Agency on Aging relies on federal funding to support programs that keep seniors fed and connected.
We had intended to furlough 23 kitchen staff and stop serving hot lunch at our senior centers. We received some beautiful, wonderful, generous donations from some folks to keep that going. And we've been working with the cities of Webb City, Neosho, and Joplin.
Jennifer tells me she's working with officials in Joplin and other cities to provide temporary funding until federal funds start flowing again. And for seniors in the Joplin Senior Center, they just want Washington to understand this shutdown hits home.
They ought to think about us, the people that come over here and need this, because there's so many people that really need this, and the ones that still, like our officials that are still getting their checks and getting all their money and all that, they need to donate it. A lot of people here need help, and we need the government to wake up and do what they got to do.
I feel like the government's let us down because, you know, we pay our taxes, and we paid our tax all our life, and then they just up and shut down on us because they can't agree on stuff.
The agency says funding has only increased about 4% in the last decade, while operating costs have nearly doubled. Once the government reopens, it could take up to 8 weeks before the agency receives the funds it needs. Reporting in Joplin, Blake Gully, KOAM News.
Local organizations like the Area Agency on Aging say they're still relying on donations and community support until full funding returns. Well, Christmas assistance signups began this week at the Wesley House in Pittsburgh, with hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. all week long. Already 150 households have signed up, with an expected total of 450 by Friday's deadline. Wesley House also distributed pantry food and handed out 196 coat vouchers worth $50 each, welcoming many first-time assistance seekers.
Things are just really tight for people right now. Everything's really tight, and if you live on a fixed income or a low income, you've got some really difficult decisions to make on what do you want to spend your money on over this next few weeks.
Meanwhile, the Salvation Army is also conducting Christmas signups this week. Both programs serve residents in Crawford County. Well, still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
We've dug up a treasure and we're ready to share it with you. Are you ready to see what it is?
And also, it is pretty sunny and warm outside. However, on the windy side as well. A look at your full forecast coming up. Well, it's on the warmer side, nice and sunny. However, it is windy as well. If we want to take a look at downtown Pittsburgh right now, you can actually see the camera shaking just a little bit from that wind, but it is still pretty beautiful out there in my opinion. Nice clear skies, a little bit of clouds, but nothing really going on in terms of any rain. Just a very beautiful sunny day. Actually, I want to take a look at regional temperatures. So right now you see about 69 in Joplin, Kansas City about 71, but you can actually see that front that I was talking about earlier that's going to be coming in later tonight and early tomorrow morning. That will be bringing in a little bit of a wind shift, but it won't be bringing those temperatures down that much. So right about there, like I was saying. So it should feel pretty good over the next couple of days. That front really won't affect us too much. All right, let's take a look at the future track. So today at noon, right now we have south winds that are going to be bringing up that warm air that will stick around through the rest of the day into the evening time. A little bit of patchy clouds here and there. Nothing to worry about. And then we're going to see that front start to push in Wednesday morning into the afternoon. So still southerly winds, going to be pretty warm as you're waking up at 5 a.m. And then there's that wind shift. That's when that front really starts to push in. Winds originally from the south are now coming from the northeast. So that front is going to be starting to push through. Won't be bringing that temperatures down too much. But then by about Thursday at 5 a.m., still some patchy clouds. Now the winds are shifting from the northeast to the east. And eventually, by Thursday night into Thursday morning, the winds shift from the east to the south. Still some cloudy patches though, but like I said, it's going to be a pretty nice week. Looking at current conditions, sunny skies, 71 degrees at this moment. Those winds are, like I said, 22 miles an hour, gusting up to about 31. So on the windy side. So if you are planning on having any fires today or later this evening, make sure they're contained and controlled, because you don't want to take any risks if you're planning on having like a bonfire out back in your backyard. All right, so for today, like I said, 72 degrees, sunny skies, mostly sunny, but on the windier side, temps closer to normal for this time of year. Winds out of the south, 15 to 20 miles an hour, gusts up to 30. And then planning your evening, those winds do stick around. Partly cloudy skies, dropping down to about 50 degrees overnight. Winds out of the southwest, 10 to 15, still gusting up to about 25 miles an hour. Those winds will eventually, like I said, calm down. For tomorrow, 71 degrees. Beautiful sunny skies, very warm, southwest winds at 5 to 10. It's going to feel really good for the next couple of days. All right, let's take a look at our 10-day here. So like I said, today, let's say 72 degrees, dropping down to about 50. Winds are going to start dying off by Wednesday. Look at that beautiful week until we get to the weekend. But I want to mention Thursday, we could possibly see 76 degrees. That's going to be probably the best day of the week. It's going to be very, very nice. And then by Saturday, another front is going to push through that will drop those temperatures down behind it. See 69 on Saturday, and then a possible chance for some isolated showers. And then look at that. Sunday morning, 26 degrees. Possible frost and freeze associated with that. And then we're getting back to those typical 51, 54 degrees of fall-like temperatures you're going to see this time of year, and then possibly another warm-up by Wednesday of next week. That's a look at your full forecast. More coming up after that. Oh, yeah.
That sounds so great. About those slightly warmer temperatures, even if I'm seeing a 26 on there, which I don't love, but you know, we have a 76, so I really can't complain too bad.
Yes, it's going to be really nice out there. Let's just enjoy this nice, beautiful weather while it is here.
Thanks. We'll stick around. We're making old-fashioned pot roast in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Sometimes you just need a bit of comfort food, and this old-fashioned pot roast recipe is exactly that. Howard shows us how to make it in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
A few weeks ago, I came across a box of recipes that I got from my grandmother years ago. I had sort of set it aside and forgot about it. When I finally went through it, it was stuffed with all sorts of recipes that I grew up with, including one for a pot roast that my mom used to make all the time. As you can imagine, By now, the recipe was pretty splattered, tattered, and torn. In these days, I make it just like she did. To begin with, we coat a 4-pound chuck roast with some seasoned flour. Let me share with you a little tip. It's a good idea to wet the roast first. This way the flour really sticks to it. Now, we sear it in a bit of oil till it's browned on all sides. This seals in its juices. Then, in the same pot, we add some water and a bit of white horseradish, and we'll bring that to a boil. Once it boils, we'll lower the heat, cover it, and let it simmer for about an hour and a half or so. Then we toss in some chunked up potatoes, carrots, and onions. Now, to give this some added flavor, we stir salt and pepper and a touch of seasoning sauce, and we'll let that simmer until everything is fork tender. Talk about old-fashioned goodness. It's one of those dishes you just can't seem to get enough of. So go online and get the recipe for my grandmother's old-fashioned pot roast so I can bring my family tradition into your kitchen. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a classic way for you to say, "Ooh, it's so good."
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
Taking a look at our 10-day here, it's going to be 72 degrees today, but it's sunny skies on the windier side. It's going to be a pretty nice week, 76 on Thursday. Saturday, a front comes in, possible chance of some isolated showers that we'll be bringing in some cooler air next week, but then a nice little warm up by the later part of next week. So let's not take for granted this beautiful weather that we're having.
Agreed. You got to appreciate these crisp fall days and evenings while they're here.
Yeah, can't be mad at the 26 when there's a 76.
No, exactly.
Well, what do you have coming up for us at 5?
Well, lots coming up at 5. For starters, from fake voter sign-ups to phishing texts, election scams are surging. One study found more than half of Americans say they've been targeted as a voter, some losing thousands of dollars. We're going to have expert tips on how to spot those scams. Plus, it is Election Day. We're going to have live coverage on the races across the 4 states you need to know about. And Pitt State construction students get hands-on learning experience while giving back to the community. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up today. KOAM News at 5.
Well, those all sound great, Dal. Thank you so much. That's the news for now. Thank you for joining us for KOAM News at noon. Have a great afternoon.